Everton's point away at Arsenal today. Dave Johnson from the Falcon Blues joins us on the line. Dave, it's good to talk to you. I know it's been a while. I know it wasn't a great game of football for Everton today, but a point away at Arsenal, it's got to be a good result, hasn't it?
Of course. I mean, if you'd have asked me before kick-off, you're going to get a point at Arsenal and keep a clean sheet, I'd have snapped your hands off for it. It wasn't, like you say, it wasn't the greatest game of football, and the manager will point to, it's a good point, it's a very good point, and it's a really solid defensive display from Everton, and you can be happy because there's positives that you can take from it, definitely.
And when you look at the performance, I just wonder whether Everton were missing Dwight McNeil today, because it was a surprise, wasn't it, that he wasn't in the squad this afternoon?
Yeah, it was an injury that apparently that's flared up through the week in training and stuff like that. But I think when you take Dwight McNeil out of the side, you do see a difference within Everton. There's not really a player in that side that can get forward. I mean, he's not blessed with bundles of pace, but what he makes up for it in defensively, and he can get forward and attack, and he can when he puts his mind to it, put in a decent set piece, and that's where we were lacking. Like I say, we were excellent in our own half and defensively, but the final third again is just letting us down.
Yeah, this is it. And, there are positives from the game. Jordan Pickford was excellent today. As you say, Everton defended resolutely today. But as you say, the attacking play, it just wasn't there this afternoon, was it? And I just wonder how much of a concern it is for you when you look at that performance today, with big games against Chelsea and also Manchester City coming up as well.
I think we've got to find someone who can score goals. I'm hoping that Armando Broja can bring something else to the table, because the attacking players that we were trying to use today with the likes of Jack Harrison and stuff just doesn't work. Broja comes on in the last 15 minutes and is a breath of fresh air. So him and Iliman and Dye, I think they've got a good opportunity there to build a partnership on both sides of the wing and things like that. But yeah, definitely, like you say, with City and Chelsea coming up, but again, the resolute display in defence gives you that bit of hope. But we've got to start putting teams to the sword a little bit more. Start giving them something to think about, rather than thinking, can we just blow the whistle after 20 minutes because we put in a 20-minute decent display. We need goals. Calvert-Lewin is feeding on scraps, and the same applies if you put Beto on. Unless we've got someone in there who's willing to put a decent cross in or put a ball into the middle for an attacker, then we've got our work cut out for us for the next few weeks, and especially going into January. But the next 3 games are crucial. They're becoming out of thick and fast. We're playing big teams now. When we've had a pretty easy run, if you look at the opening fixtures that we've had. So I think we need to be going back to the drawing boards on scoring goals or even creating chances, because aside from Doucouré's shot today, there was nothing.
Absolutely. I think that was the only shot that Everton had today. And when you look at the stats, they don't make pleasant reading for Everton. Arsenal 76% possession for today's game. I think they had 13 shots at goal as well. I just wonder, because I know Sean Dyche, talking before today's game, he was talking about the incentive for his players to raise their game for the rest of the season, because I think I'm right in saying, with you, Dave, there are 12 players, 8 permanent, 4 on loan, whose contracts are going to be coming up at the end of this season. Now, they're going to be playing for new contracts for the next season as well. And I just wonder whether there is any ability or degree of thought within these players that they need to raise the game, not just as a team effort, but also come the end of the season when those contracts are going to need to be negotiated once again.
I see that, but at the same time, I also think that there's players there that just want to get away from Goodison Park. It's hardly the nicest place to play at the moment, and playing for Everton is hardly the nicest thing, with everything looming over us, with points deductions that we've had, with boardroom bust-ups and, everything else going on with the owners and things like that. It's an unsettled place, so it's whether these players actually want to stay at Goodison and play for Everton or not. I think there's players there that have seen the time, the likes of Michael Keane. It's like, okay, I'm not going to probably be playing every single game this season. The fans haven't really, not really enamoured with certain players, like I'd say Michael Keane, other players in that squad as well and in that 12. But you look at them and they go, well, do you want to actually be at Everton? I'm sure they'd probably be able, they'll get another contract somewhere else. Of course they will. Maybe not on the money that Everton have been offering. But, it's just somewhere that takes you away from the turmoil of Everton Football Club at the moment. And I think there's a lot of players that Everton fans would like to see the back of as well, because they like you say, they've had their time at Goodison. And now it's time to, okay, see you later, there's the door, and let's bring in new personnel and new blood and players who actually want to be at the club.
Yeah, we're talking about that passion, isn't it, to wear the shirt. And that's a conversation that, has been had about Everton for the last few seasons, about whether the players, some of them at least, have got that passion to wear the shirt.
Of course, and, it doesn't just stem from Moshiri's time, it stems from, Moyes' time, the time when Moyes is in charge. Are these players willing to step up and be counted for? And there was a lot of times where we just fell at the final hurdle. But there was players there that you think, they could go on and be really good for Everton and make, more of themselves, and they just haven't done it. But then, like I say, it's Moshiri's time. It's been under, Koeman, under Silva, under Ancelotti, under Benitez, under Lampard. We can go on and on and on about all these players. It's been like that for the last 20 years, Paul. It's not new. There's not players there that you would think there's an Everton legend in my eyes, and there's a player that wants to be committed to Everton. There's a player that is, blue through and through. You're not going to get that in this day and age, unfortunately. But I get what you're saying about passion. You've got to. You're playing for one of the biggest clubs in the country, biggest clubs in the world. I'll probably have Reds laughing at me on this, and that's fair enough. But if they're your club, Everton Football Club to me is the biggest club in the world, and that's how the fans see it. You're coming to one of the biggest clubs, one of the biggest names in British football. Let's see how good you can be. Prove it. And there's been so many players that have just fell at the final hurdle and just haven't done it. And I'm getting, I'm sort of talking with a bit of passion here myself. It's like there's got to be more to players that come in. There's players that come in and they're also rans that are coming in on massive contracts, and they're just not, they're just not living up to anything that we've given them. So I think there's a lot of changes that are needed at Goodison, a lot of changes that are needed within the club throughout. Right the way down to the staff in the back office and everything. The whole club needs a complete revamp and overhaul.
And of course, Dave, this is a season where we're looking back because it is the final season at Goodison ahead of the move next summer. And quite rightly, Evertonians look back to the rich heritage of this club. But also we're looking ahead, aren't we? And we're looking ahead to what's going to happen with the takeover, what's going to happen with the future of Sean Dyche. Will Everton be playing Premier League football next season? I'm sure they will, but, there is still that debate going on. We learned this week, of course, that the Friedkin Group have secured approval from the Premier League to become the club's new owners, and we believe that the deal is now expected to be finalised next week. And, of course, if that does go ahead next week and the deal to buy the club is finalised, then hopefully that deal can now start to bring some sort of stability back to this club.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it'd be nice because I remember Bill Kenwright taking over Everton on Christmas Day, and that was getting announced. We were all finding out about that, and everything was starting to be, okay, we turned the corner from, Peter Johnson. So this time now, if this is done within the next week, 2 weeks, and it's done by Christmas Day, brilliant. I think Evertonians will finally have something to shout about. But there's a lot to be done. I mean, like I just said, then from the bottom to the top, this club needs a complete and utter clear out, complete overhaul, rip it up, start again, and just, you've got to look at it and go, well, this is the final season at Goodison Park, and we're still squabbling over owners, we're squabbling over players on end of contract. We're playing turgid football at Goodison Park, we're playing poor football away from home. With the point exception is the exception today, of course, but we want something to cheer about at the end of the season. We want to be leaving with going, oh, thank God we're not at Goodison Park anymore, and these new owners are going to make it all different. We want this final season at Goodison to be calm. As I said this weeks ago. I said this in August to you. I just want a season now where I can just go to the match with my mates, have a drink and enjoy it, and then go and have a laugh at the end of it. Not come home and have a cob on the, Everton have just been absolutely awful and lost 3-2 to Bournemouth in stupid fashion. Like I said, there's a complete overhaul and the whole mindset and just a sweep of change that needs to come through Goodison, starting, the beginning of 2025, which is when I imagine Everton, I can see that's when everything will be done and we'll be ready to start saying that the new owners are in. But there's got to be a proper, complete overhaul. That's all I can see about it, Paul. There's new stadium, new owners, new players, hopefully within the January window, if we can bring someone in, if we can get a bit of money that we can just bring in a couple of extra attacking players, maybe even another fullback, because we're, Ashley Young is not getting any younger. Michalenko hasn't been pulling up trees. Will we lose Jared Branthwaite in the January window? We just don't know. There's so much things going on at Everton that you don't know what's going to happen from one week to the next. And hopefully by the start of the year, the TFG group are coming in and they're steadying the ship and going, okay, listen, this is our plan for the next 5 years. It's going to be painful. We'll probably lose players who are, who we don't really want to lose. But in order to do it, this is what the plan looks like. And it won't be pretty. It will be hard work for Evertonians to swallow. But I think if there's a plan there and there's a vision for the next 5 years, especially with given the new stadium for the next season, I think Evertonians can be cautiously optimistic about how we're going to go forward. But there's got to be this is what's going to happen. This is the change. This is going to be how Everton are going to look. There needs to be a proper plan for this now.
Well, there's going to be a lot of talk, clearly, Dave, about the future, about January and about performances. But, of course, the results do say that, the last game was a 4-0 win over Wolves. And today, Everton have got a point away at Arsenal. So a couple of decent results there for Everton. Chelsea come to Goodison Park a week tomorrow. Then you've got the Boxing Day trip to Manchester City. These are two games, Dave. They're not going to define Everton's season this campaign, are they, against Chelsea or Manchester City? But you never know. Maybe Everton can get a result there somewhere.
That's it. I mean, we've got. I think Dyche has got 5 games, and I get that they're absolutely unbelievably horrible fixtures to have. But I think he's just got a really good result there today, and he full credit to him. He's dug in a defensive masterclass there. Wasn't pretty. I don't know where we'd be without Jordan Pickford, for one. Absolutely outstanding goalkeeper. I think there should be a statue built in his honour. Come Bramley Moore. But yeah, the next 5 games will, they're not going to determine how Everton finish in the rest of the season. But it's a good platform to build on. If we can get something, City are struggling. We know that, and hopefully we can get something. And even against Chelsea, if they could come to Goodison Park, they don't tend to get results at Goodison, which is what you like to see. City will be a very tough one on Boxing Day, and then Forest and Forest are playing well as well. You can't even take it away from Nottingham Forest. Forest are being exceptional and they're doing really well where they are, and that's what we should be doing. We need to start picking up points though. So hopefully, this is the start of something today. A good point at Arsenal away from home, clean sheet. Let's go to Chelsea and see what we can do.
Excellent. Well, listen, Dave, it's always good to talk to you. Good to get your thoughts this afternoon, and all being well, we'll speak to you as the season continues. That's